What's up, gamers? It's K-Mega405 live from the 405, where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. And I got two topics that I want to talk about in this video. But first, since it is PUBG Eve, I think I'm gonna start off with that first. But I'm already looking at seeing people already playing the game. Lucky bastards! I want to get my hands on it. I was looking for it in the Xbox store. Hasn't seen it, so maybe you can go to like a GameStop, something like that, and already get it, or you had to pre-order it early or something like that. But regardless, I mean, I'll get my hands on it sometime later on in the week. But anyway, this so-called PUBG controversy, absolutely ridiculous. Now, I don't know if a lot of people are inclined to know what this controversy is supposed to be, but it's basically over how a particular these female characters look like when they're wearing undergarments, and it's showing genitalia, basically a fat puss, and they're getting all up in the uproar. And look, man, there's a lot of things that people can be upset about and talk about loot crates, whatever the case they want to talk about, but really, we're talking about a fat puss on an animated character? Like, really? I don't get it. Look, this is the situation here, okay? I'm not trying to demean anybody that really have these type of concerns, but when you're talking about animated characters, we're talking about something that's not real. And when you have the certain people that's coming out and telling you that, well, they have to look a certain look or a certain way that's not realistic, well, there are athletic looking women out there in the world. I mean, and if you have the option to make any of the characters look bigger or smaller, whatever the case may be, then hopefully that option is there, and maybe if not, then the option will be available later on. But to look at a person's genitalia on a video game is absolutely crazy to me. And then what's really weird is that right before this game comes out on the Xbox, there's happened to be some kind of weird controversy. Look, I don't know, but I do know this. If you are one of the people that are having an issue about the genitalia that's on an animated character, I would advise you to maybe go outside, learn to communicate with human beings. There's a lot more other critical things happening in the world today than worrying about fat puss. I'm just saying, on a video game character. I mean, I'm not really, don't know. I just think it's really weird. And look, again, if you're going to go out all in arms and go after Bluehole and the developers of PUBG, I would hope that you would do the same for all these Japanese games that are wild and just over the top with showing the sexuality. I mean, look, I think it's stupid overall, but I'm just saying, look, if you got a game where, like Galgun, where you could just shoot a gun at little girls and at grown women and make them look like they're having orgasms, or if you got a Splatoon-ish type of game to where little girls running around shooting at each other with water guns and you got bouncy things everywhere, I would think that you would want to go after those video games other than PUBG. I think that looking at undergarments on animated people are just strange. But anyway, I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. I think it's well overblown, and it shouldn't even be that serious. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was Goldeneye 007, and big shout outs to TF God for hooking me up with this information. It's pretty interesting, actually, and it's regarding 007 Goldeneye, and well, Goldeneye 007, however you want to say it. And it's basically about Nintendo pulling out the copyrights of this game. It's been had it for 20 years and it's now up. And it's also really, there was a lot of hands that was involved when this game was in production. And there was a group called Eon Productions, which they were a British company that owned the rights to James Bond's franchise in films. There was Dandak, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's holding the company for a copyright to trademarks for James Bond related materials, including weapons, names, character likeness, etc. Then of course Rare was in development of the game, and then it was funded by Nintendo, and then of course, as we know, Rare is now bought under Microsoft. And so, you know, with all these companies, the ownership rights were divided. But now, since Nintendo is not even a player anymore, what does this mean for this franchise? Could it come back? Could Microsoft pull a Voodoo Vince, Phantom Dust type of situation to where the game could be an HD version and see how the public likes it? Or could Microsoft actually really come out with a full-fledged remake of GoldenEye 007? Or even try to make a new property? Just make a whole new game just like they do with Perfect Dark. Or, you know, Rare has plenty of IPs, Banjo-Kazooie, the list goes on. They could bring back a lot of these titles. And if 007 is somehow in the works, that could work. And, you know, and I don't know if people would be nostalgic and want to go back to that. I mean, that game was really, it was ahead of its time back then, but the controls and all of that, it would feel so dated, you know, but I mean, it was my favorite. It was the very first shooter that I got into and I loved. And, you know, I beat it and I enjoyed that game. And it was so fun. And the multiplayer was dope, you know, with the 4-player split screen and all that. So it has a lot of appeal. But again, the only thing that I'm skeptical of, if this is a possibility, if Microsoft wanted to go this direction, could people still really want this property? Because the other games that they came out with after GoldenEye 007 were bad. They were really bad. And of course, Microsoft I would hope Microsoft to make it a full-fledged AAA. But again, with a property like James Bond, you have to look at the likeness. You have to go with all the other factors that's included. So again, it could be a pie in the sky type of situation, but again, it is a possibility. And I appreciate the article because it is something worth talking about, and also getting it out there to where, hey, Microsoft can actually make a brand new IP regarding 007. We have not seen a 007 game in years, and I don't see why that would be a problem. And of course, if Microsoft is supposedly the shooter console, then you have another quality shooter available. And especially if they're going to go with the direction with how the rumors are about Perfect Dark, where there'll be more like a Tomb Raider-esque adventure game, which I think that would be a perfect fit for that particular character. And of course, people want Bad Fur Day, Conquer. People want Banjo-Kazooie. They want those new there's so many Rare properties, man, it's ridiculous. And they could bring all of these games back under the Rare umbrella, and especially after you having this new IP of Sea of Thieves, which I think is going to it's going to be bananas. I think that game is going to be a streaming sensation. It's going to be one of those games that's going to get popular by word of mouth, by people just playing and enjoying the ride of what Sea of Thieves can do, regardless of what some people may be skeptical of the cartoon look. And as long as they just hold up and you can have, you can build up the characters properly and have, a robust system to where you can play and everything is new and fresh, the sky's the limit. So again, this 007 situation, I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. Would you even care to have another 007? Would you just be happy to get a GoldenEye 007 remake? I mean, that would be great. Or just an HD version just to say that you have it, because like my boy Mooch says, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Everybody have a good one. Peace.
Riding with the boys and girls and we're high. All we want to do is have a good time. Young, wild, and reckless is how we live life.